Halloween has come and gone, but I feel like we are still firmly within the pumpkin's jurisdiction. I am a huge fan of pumpkin, not of pumpkin spice lattes. I don't have any like animosity towards them. They just don't taste enough like pumpkin to me. I love pumpkin. I love pumpkin in savory foods. I like pumpkin in sweet foods. I feel like it is just a very versatile squash. But generally it shows up in sweet things. And as a divided household, where Everett is very much a sugar bug, sweet tooth driven individual, and I'm one of those people who would much rather eat like a charcuterie tray than a giant cake, pumpkin is kind of where we can meet in the middle because it kind of plays on both of those aspects together. So I'm gonna be making pumpkin things until they stop selling it in the grocery store, because apparently it only gets sold when it's cold and sometime in between September and it runs out. Today I'm going to be making a spiced pumpkin bread. That is kind of cakey. It's kind of in between, like it's kind of like a pound cake meets a bread. So we're going to be using the bread maker, but this is very easily adapted to a mixer, because essentially that's what we're going to be using the bread maker for. It's going to be a self-contained mixing and baking apparatus. So like with any cake, we're going to actually be using this greased pan from my bread machine to mix up our wet ingredients, and then we're going to add our dry ingredients. We're going to start with 1.5 cups of pumpkin puree. If you're getting a 15-ounce can, that's about 12 ounces. We're going to add 3, look at those beautiful yolks, room temperature eggs, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of white sugar, and 1/3 cup of light olive oil. You could also use melted butter, but I don't have a microwave, so olive oil is really easy. And we're going to take this and we're going to mix it up in the bread maker. 2, 3. Most bread machines have some sort of quick or fast bread setting, so we're going to program it for such. And we're going to get that going. And I'm going to remove the cat. So we're going to start with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that, we are going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a tiny little pinch of cloves. Ground cloves. If I had some allspice, I would probably put in a little bit of allspice as well, probably about 1/2 teaspoon. Or I would take out some of the cinnamon, add a little allspice. Play with it. Just figure out what you like. And then we're just gonna mix this together so that we don't end up with any surprises when we bite in. So my strange obsession with making sure that baking soda and baking powder are well incorporated into your dry ingredient mixture comes from an experience I had when my best friend and I went to afternoon tea at a really, really nice hotel in Houston, and we bit into our scones and they tasted like mouths of baking soda. It was the weirdest, grossest, tea adjacent experience that I've ever had. And as it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's so easy to prevent that from happening, with a little bit of due diligence and a little bit of effort. And the fact that this really nice hotel didn't do that really kind of made me question their reputation. Stir your dry ingredients, people. Incorporate those dry ingredients. And so it's mixing away. Once it's done, we're gonna slowly incorporate these dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. Okay, so that little beep beep, that's my add-in warning, and it tells me it's time to add stuff. So, I'm just gonna do a little at a time. So I don't end up making a humongous mess. I'm gonna kind of let it catch up a little bit. Again, you could do this exact same process with a stand mixer. You don't need a fancy dancy bread machine. All you would do is then, once you've mixed everything up, put it into a baking, like a loaf pan, and put it in your oven. Probably at about 350 for about 45 minutes, like you would with a banana bread. So it's starting to do its magic. It's going to take about an hour and 48 minutes, according to this thing, from now until it's baked and fully ready to go. So we'll let it do its thing and we'll come back. So Everett is ridiculously excited because he just heard the beep 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 of the bread machine, which means it's time. Geez, that's hot. Oh, that is nice and moist. It smells delicious. I think it's a winner. We'll have to see what my hungry husband says. It's very hot. This is some solid bread. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go feed my husband and get the cat off the counter. Until I see you guys next time, take care of yourselves.